There are days when the weight you carry feels invisible to everyone around you, except heaven. Days when your soul whispers, "Lord, I can't do this anymore." And suddenly, out of nowhere, an animal in your home begins acting differently. What if those small, tender moments weren't random? What if God has been sending comfort through the creatures closest to you, because He knows exactly where you're hurting? Chosen one, before you take another step into this day, breathe, because what you're about to hear will make sense of moments you never understood. Emotional healing rarely announces its arrival. It doesn't knock on your door or warn you that it's coming. Instead, it slips into your life quietly, through signs so gentle that most people overlook them. But you're not most people. God has watched every silent battle you fought alone, every tear you blinked away so no one would notice, every night when exhaustion wrapped around your spirit like a shadow. And because He sees what others don't, He sends comfort in ways only a chosen soul would recognize. That's why the animals around you, those familiar, everyday companions, begin behaving differently exactly when your heart is carrying more than it can hold. They become attentive at the very moment you feel invisible. They offer affection on days when your strength is running out. They linger near you when your thoughts feel heavy. They're not simply reacting to you. They're responding to a divine assignment placed upon them. They are spiritual messengers, soft reminders that heaven refuses to let your spirit collapse. They come with a purpose, to steady your emotions, to ease the pressure in your chest, to restore the parts of you that life tried to break. And today, you're about to understand why. You will uncover the hidden meaning behind the 7 domestic animals God uses to comfort His chosen ones, and why their presence intensifies during your deepest seasons of emotional healing. Their behavior carries messages. Their timing is intentional. Their presence is prophetic. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, you will never look at these moments the same way again. Before we continue, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment 99 below. In the spiritual realm, 99 represents the moment when God leaves the 99 just to reach the one soul in need. By commenting it, you're declaring, "Lord, I am ready for the healing you are sending to me now." Chosen one, there is a reason a dog becomes restless when your spirit begins to sink, why it suddenly follows you from room to room as if guarding something precious. Dogs don't simply sense emotions, they discern energetic shifts that the human eye cannot perceive. When your heart trembles, when your chest grows tight, when your thoughts begin to spiral into darker corners, a dog reacts instantly because heaven has tuned its instincts to your spiritual frequency. God often assigns dogs to chosen ones as emotional sentinels, stationed at the doorway of your soul to detect danger long before it reaches you. Their presence is not passive. It is warfare disguised as companionship. Notice what happens when you feel overwhelmed. The dog positions itself near your feet, rests its head on your lap, or looks at you with an intensity that almost feels human. That moment is not random. It is a divine interruption, heaven's way of pulling you back from emotional collapse. Dogs absorb tension like a sponge. They slow your breathing. They interrupt spirals. They anchor you back into the present when your mind tries to wander into fear. Their loyalty is not merely affection. It is a spiritual assignment sealed before you even understood the battles you would face. And here is something most people never realize. When a dog refuses to leave your side during a difficult season, it is because your spirit is radiating a signal that only heaven-trained animals can detect. They sense when your faith is flickering, when your hope is thinning, when someone's intentions around you aren't pure. Their closeness is God, whispering through fur and heartbeat. "I will not let anything take you down. Not now, not ever." Some of the strongest spiritual protections you've received were delivered through a dog's unwavering presence, standing between you and emotional collapse, resting beside you when loneliness tried to devour you, watching the door when unseen spiritual tension entered your home. And if you look back, you'll realize something profound. The dog always knew before you did. But there is a deeper revelation, one most chosen ones overlook. Why is it that dogs become especially alert right before major breakthroughs or emotional shifts? Why do they become clingier, more protective, or unusually vocal? What are they trying to warn you about, or shield you from? Hold on to this question for a moment, because the next sign God uses will expose something even more mysterious about the way heaven comforts and defends you. Chosen one, there is a different kind of comfort that enters your life when a cat steps into your atmosphere. It is subtle, almost invisible, yet powerful enough to shift the emotional climate around you. Cats don't rush toward your pain the way dogs do. Instead, they move with a mysterious precision, as if heaven trained them to touch only the exact wound your soul is hiding. When a cat curls silently beside you during moments when your emotions feel tangled and heavy, it is not seeking warmth. It is responding to a spiritual pull, a divine signal released from your inner world. Cats are heaven's quiet healers, assigned to soften the spaces inside you that even you avoid. There is a reason a cat chooses the moment when your mind is overwhelmed to lay on your chest, or rest by your head, or press its tiny weight against your heartbeat. They are spiritually sensitive in ways most people cannot comprehend. They sense emotional turbulence like sudden drops in atmospheric pressure, and their instinct is not to run from it, but to neutralize it. When a cat stares deeply into your eyes, unblinking and calm, it is not mere curiosity. That gaze is a spiritual scan. It reads the heaviness you conceal, the fatigue behind your smile, the fragments of peace you thought you lost. And in that stillness, something begins to shift. Your breathing slows, your thoughts loosen, your spirit softens. Heaven is healing you through silence. Cats move like living candles, illuminating the room without making a sound. They bring a softness that melts inner knots, a tranquility that interrupts panic before it consumes you. You may not notice it immediately, but moments after a cat sits near you, the spiritual noise around you begins to quiet. Tension dissolves. Emotional storms weaken. They are vessels designed to absorb what your heart cannot carry alone, drawing out emotional toxins the way fire draws out darkness. Their presence is God's unspoken message. Rest, release. Let me untangle what life has tightened. And here is what most people never realize. Cats often appear or become unusually affectionate during seasons of emotional transition. When your spirit is shedding old pain, when God is shifting you into a higher identity, when your heart is preparing to receive something new. Their sudden closeness is a spiritual indicator that healing is accelerating, that heaven is smoothing the path before you take your next step. Cats do not comfort randomly, they comfort prophetically. But there is a deeper mystery forming beneath the surface. Because while the dog shields you with fierce loyalty, the cat heals you through quiet intervention. Two opposite energies, protection and restoration, working in harmony for your emotional survival. And if the first two signs are already this powerful, what will happen when you discover the next animal God sends right before a breakthrough? Something unexpected is coming next. Something that lifts your spirit in a way no human voice ever could. Chosen one. There is a sacred moment that happens long before you realize your spirit is healing. The atmosphere around you begins to shift, and one of the first creatures to respond to that shift is the bird. Domestic birds, whether they live in your home or visit your window every morning, operate with an awareness that reaches far beyond the physical world. They are tuned to emotional frequencies, spiritual transitions, and subtle movements inside the soul. That is why a bird suddenly sings louder on days when your heart feels heavy. It isn't trying to entertain you. It is trying to reach you. Birds have a divine assignment that differs from dogs and cats. They don't shield you or absorb your weight. They elevate you. They lift your inner world upward when it has collapsed inward. When a bird becomes unusually gentle, unusually vocal, or unusually present near you, it is responding to an unseen command from heaven. Bring light back into this spirit. Remind them that joy is not gone, only hidden. Their melody carries vibrations that interrupt emotional darkness. Their wings symbolize freedom long before you feel free. Their presence reignites hope in hearts that have forgotten what hope feels like. There are moments when a bird lands near you at the exact instant your thoughts turn heavy, or when it watches you quietly with an intelligence that feels almost supernatural, or when it begins singing right as tears are forming in your eyes. Those are not coincidences. Birds are spiritual messengers, heralds sent to announce that the emotional winter inside you is beginning to thaw. Their sound breaks through the thickest of inner fogs. Their movement stirs dormant parts of your soul that grief tried to shut down. They carry renewal in their wings and restoration in their voices. And here's something most chosen ones never realize. Birds often behave differently right before a breakthrough in your emotional health. They may appear more frequently. They may follow you from window to window. They may sing at hours they normally wouldn't. Why? Because heaven is preparing your spirit to rise again, and birds are the first to sense the shift in your destiny. Their energy is prophetic. They are announcing what your heart hasn't caught up to yet. Your joy will return. Your mind will clear. Your spirit will rise. But beneath this beauty lies a deeper revelation, one that intertwines mystery and urgency. Why do birds appear during seasons when darkness tries to silence your voice? Why does heaven choose a creature of song to intervene at the exact moment your own inner voice feels muted? The answer leads us directly into the next animal God uses. One whose presence doesn't just lift your spirit, but softens it in ways you never imagined. Something tender, something unexpected, something quietly transformative is coming next. Chosen one, there are seasons when life doesn't just wound you, it hardens you. Pain tries to turn your heart into stone, building quiet walls around your emotions so nothing and no one can reach the fragile places inside you. And when heaven sees that the weight you carry is beginning to reshape your personality, when God notices that you're becoming more guarded, more tense, more distant from your own softness, that is often when a rabbit appears. Not loudly, not dramatically, but gently. Exactly the way healing re-enters a wounded spirit. Rabbits carry a spiritual assignment unlike any other domestic creature. They don't approach you with the boldness of a dog or the mystery of a cat. They come as a whisper, a soft vibration, a living reminder that tenderness still exists inside you, even if you've forgotten how to access it. Their presence melts emotional rigidity, the way warm sunlight melts frost. When a rabbit sits near you, or allows you to hold it, or simply observes you with quiet curiosity, it is performing a sacred task, lowering your emotional defenses without forcing them open. Rabbits heal through softness, not strength, and that is precisely why God sends them during seasons when your heart feels wrapped in armor. Their energy is calming, almost hypnotic. The way they breathe, the way they blink slowly, the way they settle into stillness, it naturally slows your nervous system. You feel tension draining from your shoulders. You feel the tightness in your chest loosening. Rabbits bring your spirit back down from its fight or flight mode, reminding your inner world that not every moment requires survival. Sometimes it is safe to simply be. They create emotional permission to feel again, to trust again, to soften after a long season of guarding your soul. And here's a hidden spiritual truth. Rabbits appear when God is preparing you for a new chapter that requires emotional openness. Breakthroughs are birthed from softness, not numbness. Blessings flourish where the heart can feel. Rabbits enter your life when heaven is signaling that your next level requires your tenderness to return. Their presence is a divine message that says, I am restoring what pain tried to steal from you. You don't have to live on emotional high alert anymore. Many chosen ones don't realize this, but when a rabbit suddenly becomes more comfortable around you, or when you feel unusually drawn to their presence, it's because your emotional healing is accelerating beneath the surface. They sense the shift before you do. Their closeness is a sign that your emotional barriers are cracking, not from pressure, but from grace. But now comes the mystery. Why does heaven soften your heart right before a major turning point? Why does God reawaken tenderness just before shifting you into a new spiritual stage? Something profound is happening behind the scenes. And the next animal God sends will reveal exactly what your spirit is preparing for. Chosen one. There are moments in your journey when your emotions feel too large to contain, too heavy to express, too complex to unravel. In these seasons, God does not send softness. He sends strength. And few creatures carry spiritual strength the way a horse does. Horses are living symbols of resilience, dignity, and deep spiritual awareness. They don't just sense your emotions, they mirror them. They reflect what you're afraid to admit, and they respond to what you're struggling to name. When a chosen one stands near a horse during emotional turmoil, something sacred happens. The horse shifts its posture, slows its breathing, and becomes intensely present, as if offering its strength to steady yours. Unlike other animals, horses communicate through energetic resonance. They attune themselves to the emotional currents moving inside you. If your mind is racing, they remain still, grounding you with their calm weight. If your spirit feels fractured, they adjust their stance, offering stability you didn't know you needed. And when sadness tightens your chest, a horse will often lean into you or rest its head near your heart. A silent gesture that feels like a spiritual embrace. Horses are heaven's way of reminding you that strength isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about allowing yourself to feel while knowing you won't break. Their presence carries authority, not dominance, but divine confidence. Horses walk with purpose. They breathe with intention. They look at you with an understanding far deeper than language. And in their eyes, chosen ones often see a reflection of who they are becoming, someone strong enough to stand, brave enough to continue, and anchored enough to rise again after every storm. God uses horses to reveal the truth that emotional strength and spiritual partnership are not separate forces, they are twins. One stabilizes you, the other guides you. One empowers your steps, the other aligns them with divine timing. But there is a deeper mystery in the way horses comfort chosen ones. They often act differently, right before a major shift in your destiny. A horse may become unusually alert, unusually connected to you, or unusually protective. This is because they sense spiritual momentum building around your life, the kind of momentum that requires inner strength to carry. They become vessels of courage, preparing your spirit to step into the next dimension of purpose. Their presence whispers, "You are stronger than the pain you survived, and strong enough for what is coming next." And here is the revelation hidden beneath the surface. Horses don't show up to simply comfort you. They show up to awaken you, to reactivate the power, the confidence, the spiritual authority you forgot you possessed. They stand beside you as equal partners in emotional recalibration, challenging you to rise into the version of yourself that pain tried to dim. But what could heaven be preparing you for? Why is God blending comfort with awakening, gentleness with power, healing with strength? The answer becomes even clearer when you look at the next creature he sends, one whose presence doesn't just support your emotions, but cleanses your entire inner landscape. Something ancient, pure, and transformative is about to reveal itself in the next sign. Chosen one. There are moments when emotional pain doesn't just sit on the surface. It seeps into the deeper layers of your spirit, shaping your beliefs, your reactions, even the way you see yourself. In these quiet internal battles, God sends an unexpected kind of comfort, the presence of goats and sheep. These are not animals of force, nor creatures of intimidation. They operate with a purity that goes beyond human understanding. When a goat or sheep becomes unusually drawn to you, standing closer than normal, or watching you with gentle curiosity, it is not random affection. It is a divine signal that heaven is cleansing emotional residue you didn't even know you were still carrying. Sheep especially carry an ancient spiritual symbolism. Their innocence, their softness, their steady presence reflect something God wants to restore inside you. Purity of heart. Not perfection, purity. The ability to feel without fear. The ability to trust without trembling. The ability to believe again after disappointment has bruised your spirit. When a sheep approaches you during emotional heaviness, its energy begins working like a quiet spiritual balm, soaking into the wounds hidden beneath your strong exterior. Their calmness interrupts inner chaos. Their stillness rewrites emotional noise. They are heaven's living reminder that God is washing away what life tried to stain. Goats, though more spirited, carry a different kind of cleansing assignment. Their bold yet gentle interactions reflect resilience, the kind that purifies the emotional narrative you've been holding onto. Goats approach chosen ones with a curiosity that feels almost intentional, as if they are inspecting what God is restoring. When a goat nudges you, stays near you, or observes you with unusual focus, it is heaven's way of saying, "You are being renewed from the inside out." The old emotional weight is losing its hold. These creatures do not comfort the way dogs do. They do not mirror you the way horses do. They bring something subtler, something sacred, something that touches the emotional layers beneath your personality, beneath your reactions, beneath even your memories. They work in the background of your spirit, cleansing, filtering, resetting. Their presence symbolizes a spiritual detox, a gentle cleansing of emotional debris that you outgrew but never released. God uses them to communicate a truth that many chosen ones struggle to believe. Your past is not your identity. Your wounds are not your destiny. Healing is not coming. It has already begun. And this is the part most people miss. Goats and sheep often move closer to you right before God breaks emotional cycles that have repeated for years. They sense when the old script is dissolving. They sense when heaven is rewriting your emotional destiny. Their affection, their attention, their sudden closeness. These are signs that God is preparing you for a fresh chapter, one free from the emotional patterns that once held you captive. But there is something else, something deeper, something almost hidden. Why does God cleanse your emotional landscape right before shifting your spiritual direction? What is He preparing you to step into once the weight of the past is finally lifted? The answer becomes clearer and far more profound when you see the final creature heaven uses to restore the deepest layers of your spirit. Something quiet, something spiritual, something that reaches into the very depths of your soul. Chosen one, some forms of healing arrive like a wave crashing against the shore, sudden, undeniable, impossible to ignore. But other forms, the deepest ones, come like a whisper beneath the water's surface. And that is why God uses fish. When your emotions feel tangled, when your spirit is noisy, when your mind is spinning with thoughts that refuse to settle, heaven often guides your attention towards something simple, something fluid, something quietly divine. Watching fish move through water is not just relaxing. It is spiritual alignment in motion. Their rhythmic gliding, their effortless turns, their silent navigation through currents symbolize the very thing your soul is craving. Peace that doesn't need to announce itself to be powerful. Fish don't rush, they don't force. They respond to flow rather than fight it. And when you find yourself drawn to an aquarium or captivated by the way fish swim, it is because your inner world is calling for the same restoration. God uses these creatures to recalibrate your emotional system, to smooth the sharp edges created by stress, sorrow, or confusion. Their presence reminds you that clarity doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from stillness. Healing doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from allowing God to steady the waters within you. There is a reason fish often appear or catch your attention during seasons when everything inside you feels loud. Their silence is not emptiness, it is medicine. Their movement is not random, it is guidance. When you watch fish drift through water, your breathing slows, your mind softens. The emotional fog begins to thin. Suddenly, life stops feeling like a battle you must win and starts feeling like a river you can move through with grace. Fish are heaven's way of saying, stop fighting the current, let me lead you. And here is something profound. Fish carry a symbolism of depth. They move through layers of water the way you move through layers of emotion. Some stay near the surface, reminding you that not every problem is as deep as it feels. Others sink into the lower currents, reflecting the delicate work God is doing in the parts of you that few people ever see. When they rise again, it mirrors your own spiritual resurfacing. The moment when clarity replaces confusion and peace rises where anxiety once lived. If a fish becomes unusually active when you approach, or if you find unexpected comfort in simply watching them, it is because your spirit is responding to their message. Heaven is soothing the places inside you that words cannot reach. Your emotional storms begin to settle, not because the world around you becomes easier, but because the world inside you becomes quieter. But here is where mystery and urgency intertwine. Why does God calm you so deeply right now? Why does heaven slow your inner waters at this exact point in your journey? What is He preparing you to receive now that your spirit has been softened, strengthened, cleansed, and restored? The answer unfolds in the final revelation. The moment where everything you've experienced, every sign, every creature, every whisper from heaven converges into one powerful transformation. The conclusion will reveal why God sent these animals to you and what He is preparing to release into your life next. Chosen one, now breathe, because everything you've heard until this moment has been building to a truth your spirit was finally ready to receive. Those animals, their timing, their unusual behavior, their sudden pull toward you, none of it was random. None of it was coincidence. Every presence, every gaze, every moment of comfort was a divine assignment released at the exact second your heart was trembling. Heaven has been moving around you in ways you didn't see, in ways you didn't expect, in ways designed to reach the parts of you that words could never touch. God has been healing you quietly, faithfully, layer by layer, through softness, through strength, through instinct, through presence. While you were holding yourself together, heaven was holding you. Those animals were not companions. They were spiritual responders, guardians, healers, messengers. They stepped toward you because God stepped toward you first. And now, you stand in a moment of revelation. Your emotional healing is not something you are waiting for. It has already begun. The weight that tried to bury you is losing its power. The wounds that shaped your silence are dissolving. The shadows that once pressed against your chest are lifting. Heaven has surrounded your life with comfort because your story is not collapsing. It is being rewritten, restored, elevated, strengthened. Chosen one. This is the turning point. The moment where the old emotional patterns finally break. The moment where the healing beneath the surface rises into the light. The moment where God whispers over your life, "You will not remain where pain left you. I am rebuilding you, and nothing can stop what I have begun." So if this message touched your spirit, If something inside you stirred, opened, or awakened, declare it with authority. Comment below, God, thank you for my healing. These words are not just engagement, they are agreement, a spiritual seal, a declaration that you are stepping into the restoration heaven has set in motion. Your transformation is not coming, it is here. And nothing, absolutely nothing, will stop the healing God has released over your life.